Hello, everyone. Hope you are doing well today. In this video, I'm going to go ahead and go over the underwriting for Charleston Apartments, so a property that we own in Oklahoma City. And I'll just go ahead and get right into it. This video is really just about how to read the underwriting sheet. This is the SDA Michael Blanc um, syndicated deal analyzer. So we'll just go ahead and get right into it. You'll see here the purchase price is originally it was $755, but the way the calculator works is I went ahead and added the renovation schedule or the renovation schedule into that price. That way the debt service, whenever we loan the renovation schedule, that amount from the bank, it shows that we're taking all the money day one, which isn't accurate. But that's the most conservative way to use this version of the SDA. So we put 25% down, and this repair and reserves is really just extra capital that's in the bank account. And I'll just scroll down here. Gross potential rent. This is the market rent is $735 per unit. So if we hit $735 for 12 months for all 16 units, that is this number. So gross potential income. And then below that, that's when you kind of assume for vacancy, loss to lease, which means, let's say if market rents are $1,000 and the rents that you are achieving actually today is $900, there's $100 delta, which we call the loss to lease. So $1,000 is market rent minus the $900, which you're getting today is the $100. So that would be your loss to lease. So we're projecting a 16.5% loss to lease, and that's based on where the property sits today. And of course, that's going to change over time, and we're going to dial that in. So concessions, bad debt, if we want to get a resident in there that, let's say, again, rents $1,000, but we say, hey, if you sign up in January, we're going to give you $200 off of your first month's rent. So $200 would be a concession. Currently, we aren't doing concessions because we don't need to. We have full occupancy. But that, just so you know, and then bad debt is also delinquency. So things that we have lost, let's say a resident is $4,000 delinquent, they had, and their rent has just been piling up while we've been going through the eviction process. Then the bad debt, once they do get evicted, it's very rarely that we'll get any capital back. And so assuming that we don't get any capital back from them further past due rent, that would be bad debt. So that $4,000 would account for bad debt. Rubs, we aren't billing rubs. We actually just signed a lease, I believe, for $30 for rubs. And so that will be the first unit that we're getting rubs on. So currently this is zero. Other income, this is what we have, excuse me, collected thus far since we've owned the asset. So I annualize that number out since we've only owned it for 10 months. So I annualize that number, and this is how much income we have received. And then going down here, just really quick, this is what we're projecting or I've already paid in the last 10 months for expenses. So real estate taxes, insurance, contract services, which is like grounds, pest control, things that you have a contract for that happen on a regular basis. Trash removal has its own line item, electric, gas, water, and sewer. Legal is eviction fees, so attorney fees, things of that nature. Property management fees, this is what we've paid in the last 10 months, again, annualized. Repair and maintenance, this number is what we have paid and what we can expect to pay for the next just going forward, looking at again the T12, what we have paid in the last 10 months. Excuse me, the T10. So what we've paid in the last 10 months, again annualized, and then there were some uh, um expenses that were one-offs that we won't expect to get again next year. And the reason we won't expect to have those expenses again is because we were going through a lot of turns. And so, and also dialing in on the reports and making sure all the capital is, if we spend in renovation, then we're going to take a draw from the bank. And there was one occurrence in the T12 where the management company didn't record something. It was a very small expense, maybe $500, but managing that closer will help us on the repair and maintenance. So, and then general admin, things like paying for dues and subscriptions. So the management tool at Folio, things like that, little bank fees, that's what accounts for that. There's no payroll because the asset is not large enough to support payroll. And marketing is $510. And that is, again, from the T10 numbers projected annually. Going down, we have total expenses. There again, total expenses, NOI. So total income, cell F27, subtracted by the total expenses, F48, gives us our NOI. That's $49,000. Again, here is, or just down here, we have the debt service. So our fixed interest rate is 4.5. The term is a 20-year amortization, and we have 18 months of IO. We've already gone 8 months into it. So I'm projecting, again, 10 more months of interest-only payments. And that was the scenarios tab. Now, if we go to the summary tab, this shows kind of an executive summary of everything, the returns, just so it's all in one place. And there also is the exit cap at resale, which we're projecting 7.2. Today, it's probably 6.2. So assuming that we're going to be paying less, we're going to be able to sell the property for less in the future, depending upon the NOI. Let me see, what else do we have here that we should talk about? Cash on cash return looks like it's 6% currently, and just where the numbers fall. And AAR is 22.2, IRR is 18. And this is the next tab here is the P&L. The P&L shows for 10 years what the projections are for the next 10 years. So again, there's a lot here. There's the annual rent escalator, which means every year we're going to assume rent increases by 4%. In the last couple of years, it's been 15%. Again, but we don't want to project 15%, so we're on the lower side there. And annual expense escalator as well is 2%. Year over year. Vacancy, again, 10%. So this is 16 units. If 10% is about 1.5 units, that's conservative with a smaller asset that's in line, but still a little conservative. If we had one vacancy, it would be 7.5% vacancy. So that's what we're projecting. And loss to lease, again, in year one, assuming we don't do anything with the property in year one. So starting from today on, we're going to assume that we just keep the rents where they are. And then in year two, by the end of year two, that's when we would have taken, burned off all that loss to lease. And going down again, this is just expenses over the next 10 years. You can see principal, how much principal we've paid off. Again, this is assuming 10 more months of IO. Interest, total debt service, cash flow available for distribution. And then here's the asset manager fee. Again, this is annualized. And then this is the returns on $270,000. So again, split up between the investors, dividing that number by 3. And then this is this portion here for the manager. And we are projecting to sell this in year 4. Now, maybe we refinance in year 3. And so we can go into the exit strategies. And this is kind of just playing with the numbers. We could play with this all day long. But if we say we're going to refinance year 3, sell it in 6 more years, cash flow goes up to 11%. And the IRR is 18. So we could play with those numbers. But assuming that we sell it right when the debt service is due, this is the return that we can project. And the returns that you can actually see on the dollar side, and feel free to pause this, is so this is the manager returns, and here is the member, so the investor returns on $100,000. So if we do 9,500, this would be the returns total. So if you look here, that's a 1.8x equity multiple. So we are returning the $90,500 plus 88% on that capital. And that is about the gist of it. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.